US and potentially actually a couple other countries. So I wanted to jump in on time. We have a lot to get through together. So welcome to Hold It Open and Close the Deal. I am thrilled that we have such a large number of people on this call for a couple reasons. One, it means you're engaged in your business. It means that you want to get better. It means that you want to grow. And two, it means that you believe that open houses can do it for you. So today, my goal in the next half hour is to actually share some tactical, tangible, specific things that we can do for our open house business that will lead to us implementing systems, tools, and models into just one lead generation lever for our business. Now, before we do, I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. Hopefully, most of us will spend the next 8 weeks together, right? Beginning in a couple weeks, we are launching the MAPS Fast Track program called Hold It Open and Close the Deal, where we dissect and dive in and basically systematically break down the open house process that we have used here in Portland and now in, I guess, 9 different states and 20 different cities across the country with our expansion teams. Many of you have met. Many of you I've met at Family Reunion, at Mega Camp, at different cities that I've taught in and shared in. So great to see you again, or talk with you again, or meet you again. But for those of you who do not know me, I run a pretty lean team here in Portland, Oregon. That's where I live most of the time. I have a team of about 10 people here. We did, between Portland and now, expanding well over $100 million in real estate volume last year. We're on pace to shatter that this year already. It was about 3 years ago that I launched some expansion teams, first here in Oregon, then out in Washington, in California. We're in Minnesota, Nevada, Texas. Let's see, we're in New Jersey. We are in Alabama. So we're in about 9 different states, a couple different countries. Many of you know that I launched KW in Costa Rica with a phenomenal group of partners down there, which has been an incredible project. It's kept me down there, which is not a negative thing. It's kept me down there about 3, 4, 5 months out of the year for the last 2 or 3 years, which is a great opportunity for me, my family, and actually to test open houses in other countries as well. So I'm the OP of a market center here in Portland. I own about 5 others here in Oregon. And here's the secret, guys. Everything started and actually continues on one main fuel source. Our gasoline to our business has always been and will continue to be open houses. So why do I call it that? Well, because in MREA, Gary Keller said on page 132, Gary said the octane of your fuel is irrelevant unless you have enough to get to your destination. Right? The octane of your fuel is irrelevant unless you have enough to get to your destination. I share that quote a lot, so many of you have heard it directly from me before. Gary says no matter who we are, where we live, what market we're in, our business will grow, our business will stay stagnant, or our business will die based on the number of leads that we have, period. So as I look at that, as I think about that, whatever our destination, right, whatever our production or income goal is, we need to focus on the right number of leads, or the gas, right, the gasoline of our business. And it doesn't matter the quality of the gasoline we put in, we just need leads. In fact, in MRA, Gary also says the quality shows up in the quantity, right? The quality shows up in the quantity. So know that. Our vision, our mission in this 8-week program, and actually in the next 25 minutes, is for us to think differently about lead generation, for us to think differently about today, the open house model. But I guarantee everybody on this call will leave here thinking about what lead generation they already do and ask themselves, have I applied the 6 Ps, is what I call it, the 6 Ps of lead generation to this activity? Because until we do, we are just doing lead gen activity instead of performing a lead generation model. If we don't have these 6 Ps, which are up there on the screen for you if you're on your computer, it's PSYCHE, right? Preparation, promotion, process, performance, and post, right? Post open for today. I will tell you whether you apply these 6 Ps to your open house, whether you apply these 6 Ps to your door knocking or your expireds or your FSBOs or your networking, you will begin to build a real estate business. So over 8 weeks together, we dissect the 6 main parts of what the open house process looks like for myself. And I will tell you, our business, right in the first year of my business as I committed to open houses, I stepped back into production after actually being a team leader for Keller Williams. But I stepped back into production. We did about 15 million year 1, 25 million year 2, 40 million year 3. And we've net over $1 million the last 4 years in our real estate business, with the majority of our business, new business, always coming from open houses. Open houses. So how? Let's jump in. I'm going to share with you a quick breakdown of those 6 P's. The first one is psyche, which, guys, the only reason why it says psyche and not mindset is mindset starts with an M, and it just wouldn't sound snappy enough. So the first P is psyche. Hey, what is my mindset? What is my mindset as I begin my open house? So let's attack that first. What I will tell you is this. Open houses absolutely need to be lead generation. Open houses need to be lead gen. Our industry has done us a disservice. Our industry has convinced us that open houses are there to service sellers. Open houses are there to actually potentially find a buyer. Open houses are there just because, right, hey, this is what new people do to try to find business. The reality is over the 8-week course together, we will challenge that. We will make sure that open houses equals lead generation. So for any coach out there that tells you, well, open houses really isn't your lead gen time, you can have them call me. You can have them call me, because open houses, if we approach it the right way, if we have the right psyche or mindset, will be lead generation. Now, Keller Williams often says time on task over time, right? Just put in time on task over time. And about 7-8 months ago in a mastermind, Gary says we need to adjust that and say time on the right task over time. So I won't be the person to tell you that maybe you've done 30 open houses or 50 open houses or 200 open houses and never really seen the right results. Well, in MREA, Gary says if you do specific activities, you should be able to get specific results. Why? Because people have. My team has, and that's why MAPS approached us and said, hey, listen, right, you teach open houses nonstop all the time, every family reunion, every mega camp. Will you put together a course for us so that we have specific activities to get to the specific results? And that's what that 8-week course is all about. I will say this. In order for open houses to be a lead generation activity and a model, then we need to start with the right mindset and the right psyche, and know that our goal at every open house is to add to the database. In fact, in front of you on the screen, I have the 4 categories, right? The 4 client types that I've built my entire database around. Why? Because one of these 4 people are going to walk into your open house. Everybody that walks in, they're going to be an immediate seller or a future seller. Right? They're either going to sell in the next 90 days or one day they're going to sell. Why? Because they own a home. If they own a home, whether it's today, 5 years from now, or 20 years from now, I plan on being in business, so I will sell their house. Or they're an immediate buyer or future buyer. They're looking because they want to buy a house right now, next 30, 60, 90 days, 120 days. Or if they don't own a house, every single person I meet in my mind, in my psyche, hey, I want them to own a house. So they're a future buyer. Immediate seller, immediate buyer. Future seller, future buyer. Every single person is one of those 4. And my open house psyche says this. My goal is to turn haven't mets into mets. Haven't mets into mets. Now, why? Because MREA tells me that's the whole point of my business. The whole point of the business is to build a database, right? It's the number of people in that database and the relationship I have with those names or those people. Before I begin, however, I want an economic model built, right? I want to build the economic model of my open house. And for sake of time today, we won't spend a whole lot of time here. What I'll tell you is we spend a whole week building out an economic model for your open house. But on your screen is just a quick recap of what it would look like if I said to myself, you know, my goal is to earn about $250,000 through open houses. Great. At a $300,000 average sales price, I need to do about $8.5 million in volume sold to get to $250,000 of GCI, which means how many homes do I need to sell? In my market, about 28. Now, in order to sell 28 homes, MREA tells me I need 168 people in my database, right, based on a 12-to-2 ratio. My suggestion is always adding 2 people to my database every single open house. So what does that tell me? My economic model tells me I need to do 84 open houses per year. How do I know that? Because if I add 2 people, if I meet 2 people at every open house, add them to my database, then 84 open houses will get me to 168 people in my database, which should get me to 28 homes sold, period. Great. That means I need to do 7 open houses every month. That means I need to do 1.75 open houses every week. See, we need to get strategic and competitive around the economic model for the lead generation lever that we chose. And we're going to dive deeper into that in our 8-week course. But interestingly enough, I look at the top of this and say $250,000. I look at the bottom of this and say, great, I need to commit to 1.75 open houses every week. That's 1 this week, 2 next week, 1 next week, 2 the next week. Guys, at $250,000, I would do 1.75 open houses every week if I knew I was going to get those results. Specific activities bring specific results. Here's an interesting statistic straight from NAR. 2 out of 3 sellers and buyers hire the first agent they meet. We know that. It is a fact. Every single year that shows up. 8 out of 10 open house guests are unrepresented. That's interesting. That means over 50% of every open house, right, every other person that walks through that door will hire the first person they meet and they're unrepresented. Let me say that again. Every other person that walks through your open house is unrepresented and will hire the first person they meet. Have the right mindset. We're there to collect clients, to build a database. So the second P is what? Preparation. We're moving quick. Preparation. And again, this can get applied to any lead generation strategy, So write that down, preparation. So how do we prepare? 3 main ways. I'm going to target specific neighborhoods. We will dive deep into targeting specific neighborhoods to hold your open houses in. We'll look at being prospecting based and marketing enhanced. We'll look at neighborhoods based on turnover ratio. We'll look at neighborhoods based on price point. We'll look at neighborhoods based on how many years average sellers have lived in their home. We're going to target specific neighborhoods. We're going to get strategic. Why? Because of the 9 ways the MREA thinks in MREA, in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, for those of you who are unfamiliar with MREA, Gary says this: the typical millionaire real estate agent thought strategically and competitively. So we're going to build a plan. We're going to prepare. See, what happens oftentimes at around an open house, on Friday afternoons, something frees up on our schedule for Saturday and Sunday, so we send an email out to our office saying, hey, anyone have an open house available? I'm available. Don't do it. Don't do it. What I can tell you is, may the stars align and chance hit and maybe you meet someone that day, sure. But ultimately, if we're not building a plan, if we're not preparing, our success rate is going to go down. And then what happens? Well, you'll go out there on Saturday. No one will show up, or no one will get added to the database. And we've convinced ourselves, and then it doesn't work. We'll continue preparing. We'll look at target traffic patterns and varied times of days. We'll dive deep in our 8 weeks about pulling times during lunch and where people are commuting to, pulling times for school drop-off and pickup in neighborhoods where you need listings, right? Because who drops off and picks up? People that live in the neighborhood, right? We're going to talk about walking patterns in urban neighborhoods. We're going to talk about weekend mornings. We're going to talk about evening open houses. We're going to build a business plan around an open house strategy. And then we'll know how many open houses will be open. We will know how many visitors we expect. We will know how many contacts we expect. And we're going to build a plan based on that. Now, preparation will continue. Preparation will continue. I will tell you, by week 3, your mindset will change about why you're there and how you get people to connect with you. We are going to become traders. We are going to trade value for contact information. We're going to share the specific scripts and strategies and messages, both by voice, email, and print, to potential clients. But we're going to build a digital folder, right? We're going to have a digital flyer. We're going to have actives, pending, and solds. We're going to go through economic reports that you'll put in this digital folder. We'll go through items of value that you'll put in your digital folder, and then we'll build out a Google Doc lead sheet for you to put in your digital folder, all for one reason. That digital folder will be the value that you provide to anyone that walks through your door. In exchange for what? In exchange for their contact information. So go through some scripts. In fact, we'll talk about a few of them later today, but we'll go through a list of scripts and critical, what I call our critical path of sale, how to move a visitor into a prospect, and a prospect to a lead, and a lead to a client. Now, once you've prepared properly, You have to promote it. Why? Because if you don't promote your open house, who's going to show up? Just you. Just you. So let's go through the 7-day promotion process. And again, we spend a week on breaking down what we do each day. But I'll put them up here for you to take some quick notes if you wish. The open house schedule. Monday, we select our open house. So keep in mind, if we're doing an open house on a Friday, we're selecting it the Friday before. So once we build out this system or process or model, you will see that every day you're beginning your day looking at, hey, am I doing an open house in about 6 or 7 days? If so, I need to push go. If so, I need to push the start button on this process. So for demonstration purposes, I have it on Monday, but this might be on Tuesday. It might be on Wednesday that it starts, about 6 or 7 days before the open. On Tuesday, we're going to post it online. We're going to get a call list, whether that be through your title company or through technology. We'll go through certain means to get those call lists on our 8-week program, and we're going to start mailing out invites. We'll share the invites we mail as well. Wednesday, we're going to post it online again. We're going to begin calling the neighbors, and a sign goes up in the yard letting them know that it's going to be open Friday or Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it's open. But now we've posted online, we've mailed to the neighbors, and we've called into the neighbors. Day 4, let's call that Thursday. We're going to post it online. We're going to finish our calls to the neighbors. We're going to invite our database because we're going to tag them based on the quadrant of the city that we met them in. We're going to call all sign calls, right? People that have called in or emailed you about this listing since you've had it. Now, what if it's not your listing? You may not have sign calls. You may not have email leads, and that's okay, but you're going to do the other 3 items. Friday, let's call that the 5th day. You're going to post it online. You're going to prepare your market statistics and comps in your digital folder. Now, some of us are thinking, Chris, I'll never use a digital folder, and I'm okay with that. I don't love it. I'm okay with that as long as you prepare all the items, put it in whatever folder you wish to put it in, and just don't hand them out. You're going to share that, share what that document looks like, and you're going to trade it. You're going to trade that document for their contact information, which is their email address. Saturday, posting online. Directional signs are up. We're going to door knock. We'll go through what we hand out when we door knock. We'll go through what we say when we door knock. And we're going to invite our sphere by phone and social media. We'll talk about social media posts as well in our 8-week program. So now you've promoted, right? And I get it. We're moving fast, but I want to get through so that everyone has a clear picture on what these 6 P's are. Next P, performance, right? Performance. This is ultimately where we show up. You do realize that up to this point, we could leverage off everything, right? Everything that we've done, everything that we've said. Why do I say that? Because anything that we do in our business should be leverageable, should be duplicatable, should be replicatable. And I know that it is because, right, we held, I believe, 53 open houses last month across 9 different states. Was I there? I was not. But was the system there? Absolutely. And did the success show up? Absolutely. We added about 173 people to the database, interestingly enough, right? A little more than 2 per open, a little more than 2 per open. Now, performance means you're going to show up today, perhaps, right? I still do open houses. I'm going to show up to my open house. Right now, it's time to generate leads, right? So we're going to go through a strategic process to get their name, to get their number, to get their email address, and their mailing address. My win is 4 contact types, right? Name, right? Number, email, and mailing address. Name, number, email, and mailing address. I know if I have their name and they live in the neighborhood, whether they give me their email address or their phone number, it doesn't matter. I'll find their mailing address. I'll track them down. I know if they give me their email address, 90% of the time I will get their phone number, and we'll go through the script to do that. I'm going to use technology to capture those leads, right? We're going to have a share file, a Dropbox, a Google Drive, whatever it is you choose to use. Some of those systems are free. Some of those systems are paid for. And then I'm going to provide value. Every day, every open house I do, my main focus, my main question that I ask myself is, what value do I have that I can share? What value do I have that I can share? So your mindset is right. You've prepared. You've promoted. You're ready to perform, and someone walks through the door. If you're taking notes, write this question down. I've shared this question hundreds and hundreds of times, so maybe you already use it. But our first script, right, the first thing we say if someone walks through the door is this question. This question changed the conversion ratio of our open houses dramatically. Are you out shopping for a home today, or do you happen to live in the neighborhood? Why? Why is that question so powerful? Because remember, my mindset, my purpose is to add them to a database. And who are they going to be? They're either a future buyer, future seller, immediate buyer, immediate seller. And I want to know who they are as quickly as possible, because I can then craft my questions after that. Are you out shopping for a home today, or you happen to live in the neighborhood? If they live in the neighborhood, they're a future seller. If they're out shopping for a home today, they're a future buyer. And now my job is to figure out, are they a future moving towards an immediate, or are they a future, right, that will stay a future buyer or future seller? Now, how do I get contact information? A few ways, right? I have a digital folder full of value. We're going to build those out together. We'll spend a whole week building out your digital folder that can then be replicated and duplicated for every open house you do. And then I'm going to ask specific questions. Would it be of value to you if I shared with you the other actors in the marketplace? Would it be of value to you if I sent you a list of all the other open houses today so you can drive by? Would it be of value to you to know what this home sells for the day that it closes? Would you be offended if I sent you? Go back and look at those questions. It is very hard for a visitor to say, no, won't be of value to me, thank you. It's very hard, right? Would it be of value to you? And why is it hard? Because as human beings, if I believe something's valuable and I'm excited about it, and you can tell I'm excited about it and I believe it's valuable, it's hard for you to say, nah, I'm not interested. Like, that's not valuable to me. Or how about the second question? Would you be offended? Would you be offended if I let you know what the home sells for? How do you say yes to that? Yes, I'd be highly offended. Nope, not going to happen. You are leading them into exchanging contact information for whatever you just said would be valuable, or whatever you asked them, would they be offended if you shared with them? So the minute you lead them down the path, then you get their email address to send them whatever you just offered them. Now, I'll tell you, if they give you their email address, you should never come back to your office without their phone number. Why? Because you just didn't ask one simple question. Hey, thanks for your email address. I'll send this out right away. You know, it always happens. Just in case this email bounces back, what's a good number to reach you at? That simple question increased our phone number ratio, exponentially. Why? Because they already gave you their email address, and everybody has emails that bounces back. Last question I'll share today, and then we'll save the scripts for the 8-week program, but getting contact information at the end, right? So they didn't give you their phone number, they didn't give you their email address, or maybe you just didn't ask, but you've had a conversation with them. The script can only be used if you did have a conversation with them, so have those. Last thing I ask, you know what? I have really enjoyed talking with you and would love to continue our conversation. Would that be okay? How does someone say no to that? Super awkward, right? Right, you have a conversation with someone and someone says to you, you know what, I have really enjoyed our conversation. Could we continue it? No, thank you. It is near impossible for a human being to say no to that. Why? Because we're human beings. So, you've performed. You've added people to your database. Then it comes to post-open. Now, guys, go back for a second. Go back for just a second. Every one of these 6 Ps can be applied to any other lead generation strategy, right? Psyche, right? Getting your mind right, preparing, promoting, process, performance, post-open. Post-open. Here's what we know. Here's what we know. Gary Keller said this in MRA, the best in the industry never allow lead gen to fall prey to the ebb and flow of enthusiasm or the market. Guys, we're going to have good days and bad days. Yes, we're going to be excited about what we do some days and not others. It is okay. Admit it. It happens. But the best, which is who we want to be, the best in the industry never allow lead generation to fall prey to the ebb and flow of your enthusiasm, their energy, or the market. How do they do that? Next sentence, they systematize, such that little energy or little enthusiasm is required to keep the machine running, right? So when you look at people and you look, man, how do they accomplish what they do? I guarantee you they have systems. Their systems show up as energy. Their systems show up as enthusiasm. The problem for most of us including me for many years, is that we do open houses, we do the activity, but there's no system to it. There's no system. So we collected a couple names. We called them a couple times afterwards because they seemed really excited about buying a house, or they were a neighbor down the street. Then we never hear from them again. They never email us back, or they don't call us back. And so we do what? Nothing, and wait for our next open house. And hopefully we'll find an immediate buyer, immediate seller. If our goal in Psyche is around building a database, everything changes. Everything changes, and lead follow-up becomes critical. Guys, my database is filled with future buyers and future sellers, and immediate buyers, immediate sellers. Right? To this day, we continue to close sellers and buyers that we met at open houses a year ago, 2 years ago, 6 years ago, right? About 6.5 years ago is when we started our team here in Portland, launched our team again, built around MREA, right? Many of you have taken Model Your Way to $1 Million, the MREA fast track. But the basis of that lead gen, the basis of that database building is this open house program. Now, lead follow-up, ridiculously critical. What will we do? We'll classify leads, we'll add them to the database. We're going to send out thank you notes to all the neighbors, right? Why? Because we got their last name. Even if they didn't give you their address, we got their name, right? Hi, my name is Chris. What's yours? Oh, my name is Bob. Great, Bob. What was your last name? They're going to give it to you. They're going to give it to you. See, if you're looking at your digital folder, and in that digital folder, right, you have a Google lead sheet which tells you I better add 2 people to my database. I better add 3 people. I better add 4 people. Whatever your goal is based on your economic model, then I'm going to ask questions specific to get those leads. Then we're going to call and email all visitors. Here's what we do in the 8-week program. We break out the 12 direct. What is a 12 direct to the sellers that we meet? What does the 8x8 look like, right? What is that relationship building campaign once they walk through the door? How do we connect with them 8 times in 8 weeks? Or how do we connect with them 8 times in 6 weeks, or 4 weeks, or 5 weeks, or 10 times in 4 weeks, or 8 weeks, right? We're going to build a relationship building campaign together, and then we better have a 33 touch, right? And the problem with most is we all know that, we just never spend the time doing it. So MAPS came and said, hey, are you willing to share yours? And I said, if it's going to make people more productive, absolutely. Let's build it out, right? Let's share it. So we'll go through our thank you notes and the scripts that we use there. We'll go through our mail campaigns and the pieces that we use there. We'll go through our email campaigns, and I'll upload those for everyone to use. You can use them. You can cater them to who you are. We'll go through our phone call scripts as well in the program. Here's what we know, guys. Here's what we know. The power behind having big goals is really about the power of acquiring big habits by beginning with the end in mind. Our 8-week course will set up a plan, a strategy, a model, systems, and tools to understand what the end in mind is, right? What is our goal? What's the economic model? What is the lead generation model that we're going to plug into? What does the budget model look like of an open house business? And ultimately, can we build an organizational model around it? And I will say yes. Right, we have people in like I said, in 9 different states. We're looking for people in 50 states, right, that want to plug into our systems. And you'll see this open house system is just one, right? You can apply this to any lead generation type or any lead generation activity that you use. So that is a 30-minute blitz through an 8-week program on attacking the 6 Ps of the open house. We start in about 2 weeks on every Tuesday at 12 o'clock Central on May 16th. It'll be 8 live calls. We'll break down the 6 Ps of the open house. You can go to holditopenandclosethedeal.com, mapscoaching.com under group as well. Holditopenandclosethedeal.com just brings you straight to the MAPS page so you can sign up. I hope and I intend that most of us will, so we can spend the next 8 weeks together going through the system, building out the models, implementing the tools, right? Whether it's you that's going to do that open house. If you're not a systems person, I will tell you that probably 30% of our attendees are not agents. Right? 30% of our attendees on these calls are operations directors and transaction coordinators and administrative team that the team leader says, hey, go build out this system. Go build out this system so that our agents on our team, our buyers agents and listing agents, can systematically attack their open houses moving forward and add to our database. Cool? It is the bottom of the hour at the moment. Any specific questions that you have, here's what I will say. Reach out to me on Facebook, right? Again, my name is Chris Suarez. Hold it open and close the deal.com, or go to mapscoaching.com, go to group and find that program. We have about 1 more week to sign up for the course. I hope as many of you as possible do, so that we can share that open house system not only with you, but that open house system gets spread out into our communities, into our company, and actually outside of our company as well to be more effective. Awesome. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.